This is Cankle King Podcast number 1 with Gavin Bushido-Bond and me, Adam Rosenacker. Good evening, Gavin.
Good evening, Adam.
So let's talk discipline. Jocko Willink, a former United States Navy SEAL, implies that discipline equals freedom. What are your thoughts on his statement?
I think his statement should be words to live by because although discipline requires a lot of control, it ultimately allows you to practice the daily habits that get you the things you want. And I feel as though without discipline, you will remain not only a slave to yourself, but a slave to society as well.
I agree. I think what Jocko is trying to suggest to those who are struggling or feel depressed at times, that at the end of the day, there is no one on this earth that is going to do the hard work for you. Motivation is unreliable and can disappear really fast when things begin to get hard and you're tired and feel like giving up. However, discipline offers something motivation does not. It means you show up even when you are tired and do the things you don't want to do.
Yeah, you know who else is all about discipline? David Goggins. That guy's an absolute animal.
Speaking of that, I've been reading David Goggins' book, Can't Hurt Me, and it's been absolutely eye-opening. I think my biggest takeaway is that we as humans have so much potential that we are not tapping into. And Goggins implies that we must get comfortable being uncomfortable, because you must suffer in order to grow.
Yeah, I agree. I think that it's such an important part of life. And suffering, I feel like we have been steered away from embracing suffering and failure because we have allowed our minds to manipulate our actions. And our minds want to be comfortable and want the easy route, and we often give ourselves an excuse to do so.
I think we allow ourselves too much time to think. Mel Robbins has created the 5-second rule. It basically means the moment you have an instinct to act on a goal, you must physically move towards that goal within 5 seconds, or your brain will stop you. It is important to write down your goals, and the moment you have an instinct to chase your goal is to not think and just get after it.
Yeah, I agree. I think at the end of the day, I just think it's important to just get after it, or else you'll find lies and your brain will begin to feed you these thoughts that you do not have the time, the energy, the resources, or whatever it is to achieve your goals.
I also think a big aspect of this is taking accountability. I mean, the amount of excuses we make is ridiculous. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not perfect in any way, shape, or form, but it is so frustrating when you pass someone with a woe is me mentality. Take accountability for your life and your actions and own them.
Again, yeah, I agree. I think it's so saddening when someone is unwilling or unable to take responsibility for their own life. Always blaming this or that when deep down, every single thing they need to be successful is really within them. And as human beings, we have full control of our happiness, success, and well-being. Yes, this is a privileged thing to say for someone who has been dealt a fairly good hand in life, but I also think it's humbling.
I agree. It's very humbling because someone somewhere with less than you is grateful for what they have, and it places things into perspective that is unreal. Deep down, we must be grateful for the blessings we have because at the end of the day, life is a gift, and every second counts.
From the time you take your first breath, you become eligible to die. Now, I am not sure how everyone feels about this topic, but I do not want to just exit this life. I want to live and enjoy every aspect while I'm living.
I do not believe we were put on this earth to wake up, go through the motions, work, and die. There is something far greater for each one of us, and we must take the steps to find the greatness within ourselves. Also, going back to David Goggins and Jocko Willink's thoughts on suffering, they are both retired U.S. Navy SEALs. Someone else that touches on this topic is Joe Rogan. Rogan suggests that by placing yourself in intense forms of stress and suffering will make regular life much more peaceful.
Yeah, wow, that's a pretty powerful statement coming from an individual who really has never experienced BUDS training like Jocko or Goggins. And I mean, BUDS training brings together some of the most uncommon creatures on this planet.
That's a good way to put it. Uncommon creatures. But that is pretty accurate since they endure some of the most excruciatingly painful mental and physical challenges through BUDS training, and beyond if they earn their title as a United States Navy SEAL.
So what do you do when you lack motivation? You find your discipline and remember the hard times. Always choose the hard path because struggle, suffering, and failure will shape you into the strongest version of yourself.
You know, the hard path will force you to find the strength within yourself, stay disciplined, and overcome adversity. When you choose the hard path, you have an easier ending. If you choose the easy path, you'll have the harder ending.
Yeah, I could not agree more with you.
Well, Gavin, that's all the time we got tonight. Thank you for joining today's podcast and discussing the topic of discipline. If there is one piece of advice you could tell the viewers before we sign off, what would it be?
You know, I would just like to remind the viewers to take total accountability of your life and to be grateful that you got to wake up today. Extreme ownership will foster self-discipline, which is the root of improving every aspect of your life.
This is Kankle King
And Bushido Bond signing off.